Hi, I'm Lisa Bagshaw, and welcome to Bold Leaps, the show that interviews creative, inspiring, successful people about the risks they've taken to pursue their dreams. And today's guest is legendary, internationally renowned, thespian, visionary, artistic director, voice actor, MC, advocate for the arts, raconteur extraordinaire, and overall make it happen sort of a person, Christopher Gaze. While at boarding school in Sussex, England, he knew he was singularly focused on being driven to be an actor. His exceptional training at Bristol Old Vic led him on a path performing in repertory theatre until he was inspired by mentor, brilliant Shakespearean actor Douglas Campbell, to go yonder to the land of opportunity, Canada, and pursue his dreams. He joined many Shakespearean festivals across the country and eventually landed in Vancouver. It was 1989 when Christopher took the biggest leap of his life when he saw an opportunity to leave the roving life of Canadian actor and pursue his dream of starting a theatre company. And so, just like that, he created a tented Shakespearean festival on the beach in Vancouver. What I wanted to know was, how do you leap from being a classical Shakespearean actor to artistic director of a major Shakespearean theater production?
That's fantastic.
Christopher, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
Pleasure.
you so much for having us onto your incredible set. Who knew that my boots would match your set?
Marvelous, marvelous.
What a story.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. I look back on your life and you have taken so many risks in your life, and you're such a visionary and you've made such a difference in the Vancouver art scene. But for this interview, I want to focus on the specific leap in 1989 when you were a very successful actor and you had a vision to create a Shakespearean festival in Vancouver. Can you tell us about leading up to this period of time when you were making this decision? What was going on?
Well, I think at the time, I think mortality has a lot to do with what happened actually. Back in 1987, my father came to visit. One of my children was birthday in the October, and he came. We went to see a production, Shakespeare production, and he turned to me at the end of it and said, "You can do better than that, can't you, Gazy?" And I remember thinking at the time, yeah, I think I probably could. I'd had a fair bit to do with Shakespeare, as you have alluded. It was part of the schooling. It was part of my training at the Old Vic. I'd been in Shakespeare plays, lots of them, and I'd been part of Shakespeare festivals. Apparently, I met an actress last year here who said to me, "You were talking to me about starting a Shakespeare festival back in the 70s. So it's been part of me for a long, long time. So Dad, when he said, "You can do better than that," I thought, yeah, I can. And so he died the following year. And I remember thinking out of that life is short and we need to get on with it. And I was an actor at the time, and I was doing very well. I supported a family and a very pleasant life. So I was doing well. But it wasn't enough for me. And I remember taking one of my children into a school, and the teacher looked at me and said, "What are you going to do today, Christopher?" I said, "Well, I've got this idea." "What's your idea?" I said, "I want to start a Shakespeare festival." And she said, "Do it." All right. And I mean, it had been piling on. I just needed to go. I needed to start. And I was able to work with a group in that summer of '89. I directed them in a play. And I thought at that time, I can't do this on my own. No man is an island, and nothing happens on your own. You need to galvanize people and collaborate. And I said to them, I have this idea. It was after the show. It was in the bar afterwards. And I said, I've got this idea. Would you like to help me? And they said, that'd be great. And so we started. And that's where it all began, in that late summer of 89. And we had to raise $35,000. That was a big target. And we applied for a grant from the Canada Council. And we had garage sales and a special event at the Alma Street Cafe that existed at the time. And things like that, raised 2,000 here, 700 there. Finally, we raised $35,000. The Canada Council came through with a grant that was in my name, an explorations grant, don't have them anymore, for me to explore this idea. $18,000, so it was almost half of our budget. We were able to put that first show on just over there for in the summer of 1990.
And so it was sort of sounds like it was always sort of a bit of an acorn inside of you, this idea. And then your father, sounds like your father really believed in you and
He did.
Matching with an opportunity. Is that about?
Yeah, and as we drove across the bridge, I was in a play at that time in '87, and we drove across the Cambie Bridge, and I looked at him as we were going downtown, and I said, "You must be awfully disappointed in me, Dad." And he said, "Why is that?" And I said, "Well, I'm just an actor, and I didn't go into the family business." And he said, "Listen, when I was your age, 1939, I was 19 years old, and I had to march away to war. I came back in 1945. He said, I wanted to be a farmer, not go into the family business. But he said, when I came back from the war, I wanted to get married. I wanted to have children. I wanted life to be normal. But you're doing what you wanted to do. And that's a wonderful thing. And you can do so much more." Investing in me at that moment, the confidence that I could do something special.
Wow, he really believed in you.
Yeah, he was a wonderful man.
So you're always able to draw upon that.
Yeah, always able to draw on my father's legacy, and there's more to it than that.
Well, we're going to talk more about that, Christopher, because I think that's a big part of the courage that it takes to take these kinds of leaps that define your life. We have to take a break, but when we come back, I'm going to talk to Christopher about what happened right after he made this massive leap. Welcome back. So Christopher, I want to take you to standing on the grass of Vanier Park before there was anything here, with your father's voice spurring you on that you can do this. How did you feel at that time?
I suppose the biggest risk in my mind, in reference to feeling, was the fear of failure. And that couldn't be. And I remember saying, as some fellow theatre people, man had given me, Paxton Whitehead had given me one of my first big jobs in the theatre in Canada, Shaw Festival. He said, the way you're talking about this, it's a big deal. And they were sort of laughing it off. And I said, and I remember I sort of, in my own mind, sort of hit the ground there. I said, it's more important than you'll ever know. because it had to work. It had to work. I'd seen it work before, and I just thought that I had in my mind a way that it could work. And so standing there with nothing there was a daunting but thrilling feeling. I was incredibly excited about it all, and I always have been. 34 years, whatever it is now, I just love it, and I love it being successful, and my drive every day is to make it successful. For whatever that reason is inside me, I want to share it with everyone. I want everyone to love it. But anyway, there, green grass, nothing there. A tent's arriving that we've rented for $50, and somehow we're going to put a theater up and a set inside the theater. There was part of it that I think what I'd learned from other theater festivals that I'd been a part of, tented theater festivals. And remember, this is all, if you like, a big seed from Stratford, Ontario. Douglas Campbell was there in Stratford with Sir Tyrone Guthrie and Alec Guinness and Dame Irene Worth, as they were the faction that came over and gathered the Canadians and said, you can do this. And the Canadians took it over, and look what it is now. Stratford's the biggest theater festival in North America. But Douglas, being my friend, mentor, sort of theatrical father, he knew, he was the driving force behind it all in my mind. And I wanted to please him too, because he kept saying to me, you can do something, you can do something, like my dad. And I had this pressure in behind me, and I didn't want to, I would not let either of them down. And so there. And on we have pressed, and it's, here we are all these years later.
Well, did you have, so it sounds like, and understandably so, that you might have a fear of failure, but it seemed as though you had sort of a mantra. Did you talk to yourself about failure?
No, but I do know this about myself, that I don't take no for an answer, and I never have done in anything. You know, if I'm in the bank, if I'm trying to get a driving license, or I don't know, whatever it might be, if somebody says, "Oh, I can't get into a restaurant," I just find a way. It's just my nature. I don't know what it is, and so even if all forces seem to be inspiring against me, I'll find a way round it, under it, or over it. And that, I think, and that back to my father again, from a business perspective, I was not a businessman, but I learned about business from my father's knee. And he was just a gentle, easy man, and he wasn't saying, add this up and this is what you do. He was just talking about business, and I listened and I learned. And so I'm a bit of half of my brain is a businessman and half of my brain is an artist. And it's quite an interesting blend. But anyway, as Churchill said, never, 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 never give up. And I will never give up.
Well, you might have half business, half artist, but if there's another half, it sounds like it's tenacity.
Tenacity, yeah. I am tenacious.
Yeah.
But I love, having said that, so that I don't sound like I'm just sort of maniacal, independent view on things, I am a born collaborator. I mean, I know, I understand completely that no man is an island, no person is, and You must work with other people to get things done. You know that. Successful people, that's what they do. They work with other people, really good people, and good things happen.
It does take a team, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it's 1989,
Yeah.
and Midsummer Night's Dream
Midsummer Night's Dream.
is opening in 1990.
Yeah.
How did it go?
Well, it all went really well. Again, nothing simple. The way this group was formed was a cooperative. So there was no money. Yes, we had $35,000 that we'd begged, borrowed, and stolen. Well, we didn't steal it, but we had this money. And but that group of people, we formed a cooperative so that everyone's in the play together. If you want to be in the play, you're in the play. I'm directing the play, and I appoint myself the artistic director. And I still got that job, by the way. But anyway, so that was the complexity of it, was casting everybody who was part of this group. But we did it pretty well. We brought in a few other people, and we all shared in the revenues, if there were any. Didn't cost you to be a part of it, but there were 27 of us at the end of it. After all those expenses were paid, they got $1,200 each. We all got the same amount of money. And that was a year's work right there.
And when did you know that you were going to be okay?
I knew pretty much, I didn't know it, but I thought, I think this is going to work. When Max Wyman, great man that he is, he wrote at the time for the province, said, "This is great, good old-fashioned barnstorming Shakespeare." That was the headline, and I thought, we got it.
Oh, that is a great story. Oh, we have to take another break, but when we come back, I'm going to ask Christopher about how life is now and what pieces of advice he has for those of us too afraid to pursue our dreams. When we come back. Welcome back. Christopher, of all your incredible talents, what is in your heart the most right now?
Well, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you're interested in me and Bard. Nothing is more beautiful to me than coming into this theater at 7:25 in the evening, or a student matinee, and seeing a sold-out theater of people that I know are going to have a wonderful time. So all these things make me happy, and I'm very fortunate. I'm made in a way that I'm an optimistic person. I'm generally filled with happiness. I have my quieter times where I'm just, Jennifer will say to me, "What are you thinking about?" "Oh, no. And so just a quieter day where I'm weighing things up perhaps, or just inside myself. But I'm a very happy person, and that has been very good for me. And I think actually that sense of gaiety and joy and mischievousness, in a kind and decent way, is part of the culture actually of our company. I think it's the Bard family. We're kind of like that, and so that's the kind of feelings. I'm just a very fortunate person. I've had as my mother said, half a minute before she breathed her last earlier this year, I've had a wonderful life, wonderful life. And it's not over yet.
Your life is nowhere near over.
No.
What is an upcoming risk that you will be taking?
Well, Bard has become this massive company now. That $35,000 budget is now a $10 million budget. And those 6,000 people that came in 1990 is pre-pandemic is 100,000, and we're getting back to 100,000 again. It's taking a while for the arts to recover. So these are there's risks inherent at the moment for all the arts, where revenue is there and expenses have gone to there, not just for us, but for everybody. And so the risks you take are, can you get that revenue up to there to make your company, this company, viable and financially stable, sustainable? So these are, for instance, the As You Like It that we've had so much success with, that we created with all that wonderful Beatles music. Here it is. That's going out again. It's already played Winnipeg, Edmonton, Chicago, Milwaukee. It's playing Washington, D.C. in December. It's playing Calgary next March, and it will probably go on. And we have to figure out, how do we tour it? And the whole pandemic and COVID world added so much to not only our budget, but all the opera and symphony and theater companies across the world, where big companies like ours and others, of course, we need to have understudies. So we need to employ other people, and that costs more money. So these are all risks that somehow we have to find a way to jump over those hurdles and get the revenue in so we can pay for them, become everything that we want to become, which is just as wonderful as we can be.
Well, and you are doing everything you possibly can to do that. I know that. We don't have very much time left. In closing, what advice would you have for people who are too afraid to pursue their dreams?
Hold fast to dreams. For if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams. For if dreams go, life is a broken shadow, frozen with snow. So pursue your dreams and never, never, never give up.
Thank you. Thank you so much for doing this on Bold Leaps today, Christopher. You are so inspiring. I feel that after this talk, I feel myself, I'm unstoppable. So thank you for everything that you're doing for arts in the city and everything that you are as a human being. Thank you so much.
That's very sweet of you. Thank you.
And that's it for another episode of Bold Leaps. Thank you for watching. Check us out on YouTube and social media for more inspiring episodes and updates. Tell us your bold leaps in the comments. Special thanks to our sponsors. And remember, every step you take is a step toward your dreams.